I met him first of all in 1965 when I first went to America with It's Not Unusual. Well, I had It's Not Unusual, What's New Pussycat, and a ballad called With These Hands, all in 1965, and I had one album. And I went to Hollywood. I went to Paramount Studios to talk about a song for a movie, and they said, Elvis Presley is filming here today, and he knows you're here, and he'd like to meet you, which I was knocked out. I mean, it was my first year, in show business. So anybody that grew up in the 50s, there was a teenager in the 50s, Elvis was the king. So to actually meet him was a dream come true, in those days. So I met him at Paramount, and he was filming, and he stopped filming at this one point, and he was walking towards me, and he was singing the song that I had out at the time, which was called With These Hands. And Elvis was singing my song. And he was walking towards me, and I thought, this is a dream, this is like a movie. And so he came up to me and he said, how the hell do you sing like that? And I said, well, you're partly to blame, because I've listened to you. He influenced me a great deal. And I said, you've rubbed off on me. And he said, yeah, well, he said, thank you, and I'm pleased. But he said, I come from the South. He said, I was brought up listening to black music, rhythm and blues, music with these great black singers in the South. But where did you get it from? What is Wales? Where is Wales? What's happening there? And I said, well, there's a lot of singers in Wales, but they're mostly Welsh traditional singers. And I was influenced by American rock and roll music, and even before that, rhythm and blues and, American pop. So I said it rubbed off on me, listening to the BBC, and that's the only outlet we had in those days for music, And I said, and that's why. So he was astonished. He said, when I first heard What's New Pussycat, he said, I thought it was a black guy singing. When the Green Green Grass of Home came out, he was driving, because he used to like to drive his own bus from Los Angeles to Memphis. Anytime he'd have off, he'd get all his lads together, after he finished a movie, and they would get in this touring bus, and he would drive. He loved to drive. And he was driving back to Memphis, and he heard the Green Green Grass of Home. So he called this DJ, a friend of his in Memphis, and once he got within earshot of this radio station, he said, I want you to play the Green Green Grass of Home continuously until I get there. So it was great. So it was, to have Elvis Presley promoting you, as your promotion man, it was unbelievable. So, and he said it made him cry. It got to him. And then he recorded it himself afterwards. Well, when I saw him in '65, he was normal. And then towards the end of the 60s, he became very thin because he was always conscious of his weight. He always had a weight problem. So he would go on these starvation diets, to make a movie. And at one point, he was really thin. I was in Hawaii with him, and we were swimming, and he wouldn't take his T-shirt off because he was conscious of being so thin. And then within like the next 5 years, he ballooned, but he always had this trouble with weight. So, and then he was taking diet pills, and that's what got him, all screwed up with the drug situation. But it all was to do with his weight.